everybody. Welcome to the first update of the 48 Ford Custom Coupe by Revell. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. Getting ready to go back to work. Unfortunately, I did not hit the Powerball, so what you see before you is what I have completed so far. I have the engine completely done except for the fan belt, pulley assembly, and the fan itself, and the radiator hoses. Radiator hoses. The coolant hoses, I should say. And I have the body painted, and I wanted to show that to you and talk about that just a little bit. And I'll do that here in just a minute. Let me go real quickly, or fairly quickly, what's been done, and what you see paint-wise is what has been used on all the parts out here. So I'll go real quickly as I can. The frame and the frame components were painted with Ceramcoat aluminum, and the reason I start with that is that you probably won't be able to find this in the stores anywhere. Hobby Lobby, at least mine doesn't. Either one of the ones here in Nashville, they do not carry it. So I had to order this offline. I didn't even know they carried it. I happened to see it on the website, the parent website, which is Plaid, as in plaid shirt, P-L-A-I-D. And it's the parent company for Ceramcoat, Folk Art, I believe Apple Barrel as well. And I just happened to see this particular bottle of paint in their lineup, and I thought, well, I haven't seen that. So it looked a little darker than regular aluminum, so I ordered like 4 bottles of it, and it's actually, as you can tell, that's what the frame components are painted with, versus what we kind of commonly think of as being aluminum. And technically that's not aluminum either. It's Ceramcoat platinum and metallic silver mixed together with the mufflers. I think I dropped in like 1 drop of Folk Art gunmetal gray, and I like to use craft acrylics on the frame components, the interiors, just mainly because they're easy, they're fast, they're cheap. They look just as good as, a $3.79 bottle of Model Master does. And you can't tell the difference. And I actually think that once you seal these craft acrylics with either the satin or the gloss polyurethane, they actually hold up better than the Model Master acrylic does. I have, in places where I've had to scrape paint and a glue joint or whatever, I think Model Master paint comes off a lot easier than the Ceramcoat and the craft acrylics do with sealed up, the same 2 paints sealed up with polyurethane. You can seal the Model Master acrylic paints with the same polyurethanes as the craft acrylic, and the craft acrylic seems to hold up better, at least to me they do. So anyway, the engine is the Ford Engine Blue Model Master acrylic. The Ford Flathead V8, the heads that were chrome in the kit, I have dull coated. Tesla's dull coat, just to take away some of that toyish look to it. I did leave the air cleaners chrome just to break everything up a little bit. Since this is a Ford Flathead V8, the fuel pump is on top, and I decided to run some fuel lines. So what I did was I drilled a hole I did my research to where the fuel lines would come from at the fuel pump, and then I made me a fuel block right here, 1 intake and 2 output feed lines, and ran 1 line to each carburetor, and I used some German beading wire, Beadalon beading wire I got from Michaels, and believe that's 22 gauge. It's I thought I had some 24 gauge, which I think is probably a little closer to what scale would be. This I believe is just a tad bit on the large size, but it sure doesn't feel like it when you're doing your plumbing because it's all you can do to see and hang on to as well. So, and the distributor is a more modern traditional type distributor. The kit distributor is the two-prong, the two-terminal distributor with you would run forward to each side, and then they would come up through like a little piece of conduit with a hole cut out at each point where the plug would be at, and that's where the wire would come out and plug onto the into the plug. But I just went with a straight modern type distributor, and I haven't run the plug wires yet, so I'll do that later this week. And this motor was void of any kind of detail pretty much, except for the plates on the transmission. The oil pan and block all molded together as one, which I cannot stand that. Kind of like the exhaust being molded in on the bottom of a chassis. So I got that done, and that's pretty much all I've got done as far as assembly. I do have the rear springs and axle and drivetrain. That's all. This is all one piece, the axle and drivetrain, and then this is a separate piece, which is metallic silver with a little bit of folk art gunmetal gray mixed in. And then the rest of it's just suspension pieces, which are platinum metallic silver mixes of different quantities, and then the muffler has like a drop of gunmetal in with the mix to darken it up, and just so you can, and you may not be able to tell it on this light, but the muffler is just a tad bit darker than the exhaust pipes themselves. And then the engine manifolds, exhaust manifolds, are the platinum and metallic silver as well. So, and that's pretty much that as far as what we've got done. I like this. I really like this aluminum that this ceramic coat turns out. It's kind of a showy type, elegant type aluminum color. It's almost a titanium gold color more than anything. So that's where we're at with that. The other thing I wanted to show you was the body that I have painted. I have it finished, and the reason why I'm showing you this early, I usually don't have my bodies painted this early, but I think I touched on it in the first video, is that this time I'm painting with enamel. So I will show you what I have done. Here's the finished product. This is a mix of, this is 2 parts Testors Purple Pearl enamel to 1 part Testors enamel grape pearl. And I originally had intended to go with just the Purple Pearl, but Friday night I was looking at the paint, and I looked over in my paint stash, and I saw I've got a bottle of the Acryl, Model Master acrylic grape pearl. And I thought, well, I'll just take the lid off and take the lid off this enamel grape pearl and take a look at it. So I'm looking at it, and I said, you know, that grape, I mean, that Purple Pearl is awfully dark, or darker than I really, as the longer I got to looking at it, the more I kind of just didn't like it as well as I did when I first saw it at Hobbytown. So I set the bottles down, I set the lids down, I looked at it, and I don't think I have to tell you what eventually happened. I reached for something on my bench here, and I hit my hand, my arm, hit the bottle of the enamel Purple Pearl, turned it over and spilled everything, but maybe enough to baptize a good sized flea in. Maybe a thimbleful. I doubt if there was that much left. So, and it ran all over my cutting mat and everything. But I was pretty well within arm's reach of some paper towels, so I kind of raked it all up pushed it all up in a puddle, kept it from getting off onto the floor, and soaked it all up, and got my lacquer thinner out and kind of cleaned everything off, and it doesn't look too bad. But later on in the night, I was sitting there looking at the paper towel soaked with paint in the trash can. I thought, man, the more I look at that, the more it just bothers me. So I didn't have any more of it after I spilled it. So I called the guy at Hobbytown, which is, may I add, 30 miles one way from my house, and a town north of here, just a part of metropolitan Nashville, but 30 miles mid Mount Juliet. So I called the guy and asked him. I said, "Look, man, do you have any more of the purple pearl?" Give him the number, and he said, "Yeah." He said, "I've got 2 bottles," and he said, "I'll put one up here, with me at the counter, and then you can just come in and get it whenever you want to." And I said, "Well, this was Friday night. I said, I'll be in the morning, Saturday morning." So I'll go, and all the way up there, I'm thinking about how that great purple looked, really looked good as well. So I got the right idea. I thought, well, I'll just mix them. So I get up there, I get my paint that I spilled, and I got the great pearl, and come on back and mixed it up. And so what you have before you there, if I get you in frame there a little bit, is that is 2 parts purple pearl to, if I would stop moving the camera, there we go, to 1 part great pearl enamel. And once I got the mix that I wanted with that, that is mixed with an equal amount, which would be 1 full half-ounce bottle of cheap Home Depot lacquer thinner, and then shot through my airbrush at about 32 pounds. And using that particular method, and I know, most of you who have been building for any length of time know that that's a it's a Don Yost method of painting. He uses 2 parts to 1 part paint to lacquer thinner, and I just like the 1-to-1. I've played around with this, for 4 or 5 years off and on, and for me anyway, it works better, and I like the results better using 1 part paint to 1 part lacquer thinner. It lays down better for me, and there again, that could be me. It doesn't seem to build up in the panel lines as much as when you use the 2-to-1. And I'm certainly not a Don Yost painter by any stretch of the imagination, but this works for me, and I just wanted to do something different this time, and I wanted to show you how it came out. This has no clear on it at all. This is strictly just as it came out of the gun, as it were, and I'm very pleased with it. I also have all the components that will be body color, the fender skirts, firewall, some of the dash, and that's how it come out. I like it. I think it's not a sporty color. It's not. I didn't want something like Purplicious, and I didn't want something like Plum Crazy Metallic, something like that. But I also didn't want Black Cherry, and that's kind of what this Purple Pearl kind of looked like by itself. When it dried, not dried, but when it got spread out, it just looked like, to me, it looked like Black Cherry, and I didn't want that. So that's how it came out, and we'll let it sit probably for a good 4 or 5 days before I attempt to clear it, and we'll go from there. We'll start assembling what I've got painted so far, and hopefully we'll be through here in a couple of weeks or so, maybe before then. You never can tell. So, all right, that's it for now, I guess. until I talk to you again, take care of one another. May God bless you and your family. And remember, just build it. See ya.